Hi, I'm Mike Snell, a realtor with Remax Real Estate Central Alberta, based out of Red Deer, Alberta. And in this video, I'm just going to talk about real estate advice, things that come up, and things that I can share. And so in this one, I want to discuss the Real Property Report, or RPR, or sometimes called a survey. In many different areas, they have different names. Even in our area, they've been called, they're originally surveys, now they're real property reports, or as we do it, abbreviated, an RPR. So this information is going to be based out of Alberta, Canada, which is the market that I work. And so just as a little disclaimer, the information that I share here today, if you're in a different area or a different region, may be different. So just consult with your local realtor and they'll be able to fill you in the information that's necessary. But again, in short, the real property report is the legal drawing of the property, which shows its boundaries, the buildings and structures that are on it. The document is completed by a land surveyor and shows where those structures are within the property boundaries, and will also show any visible easements or encroachments that may affect the property. The document ensures that all items that are fixed, so non-movable structures, to the land obviously adhere with the municipal land use bylaws. So just to recap, an encroachment is when something traverses or goes over the boundaries that are outlined in that RPR, violating the property rights of either a neighboring property owner or municipality. So think of like a park or pathway, something along that line. So within the province of Alberta, the seller listing agreement as well as the purchase contract states that the seller will provide a real property report that shows the current states of the property. So essentially, if you're to be looking at it with your eyes today at the land, is everything on the drawing on the RPR showing where it's supposed to be? So there's the house, the deck is in the exact same spot. If there's a garage, is it where it's supposed to be? The fence is showing up there. And so if the RPR shows everything that's currently there, then it can be considered to be good, and it shows the current state of improvements. There will be sometimes a date where if it's been more than certain times, banks may not like it and they may want it updated. But again, that's going to be situationally different and a conversation for the lender, etc. at that time. But if an RPR doesn't show the current state of improvements, so if the deck has been added onto, and let's say it goes past the width of the house and is closer to that property line, then that is something that the RPR should be updated to ensure that the new additions are not encroaching onto that property line. Or let's say that there is no garage on the drawing of the RPR, and now there's a big detached garage in the back. Well, you want to make sure that that garage is where it's supposed to be and it's not where it's not supposed to be, right? And so an RPR obviously can be updated at that point, and it just tells everybody that everything is where it needs to be and there's no further issues, especially with the encroachments and the easements. There are certain situations where an RPR can be accepted by a buyer that maybe is not 100% current. And some of those situations might be like, as an example, let's say the deck was changed, but not added onto, they reduced it. And so if the deck was made smaller and it's been pushed away from or built further away from the property lines, then there is no chance that altered deck is encroaching onto the neighboring lands, especially if it's not overhanging the house. And if the house is where it's supposed to be and not encroaching, then we know it's most likely fine. Or situations like a shed. Like a shed's most of the time a movable structure. It's put on skids. It can be adjusted. Some buyers might be like, "Nah, I'm fine. I don't need to have that on there." Or fence. Fences should show up on a real property report, but there are certain situations where somebody may look back and say, I'm okay if one post is off, or I'm okay not knowing exactly where the fence is if both neighbors are happy. And so what happens in that situation is a buyer and a seller can discuss through their realtors and or lawyer, whoever's involved in that transaction, about accepting a real property report as is. There might be different terms that they might adjust with it, but that is just something that can be negotiated. And so it's not every time, but it is a possibility for it. Overall, the document is very important to all homeowners and should be kept for their home records, for either future development of the property or when you're planning to sell the property, it needs to be provided to that purchaser. It can be costly. So to get a brand new RPR, or even have it updated at times, can range anywhere with municipality compliance. You could be looking at costs of $450 to upwards of $1,500, depending on the surveyor who's doing it, the amount of work that needs to be done. Larger properties, acreages can be a lot more money. Smaller residential properties might be less money, but it's one of those things where it's not quick and easy. It can take some time to get done. You could be looking at weeks to months to have it finished and back from the municipalities with compliance. And so this is something that if you don't have one, look at getting it completed prior to putting your house on the market. If it is something that you have and you know where it is, make sure it's put away somewhere safe, whether it's in a safety deposit box, safe. Put it away, make sure you have it. They can be very important. So again, all this information in regards to a real property report is specific to the province of Alberta in Canada and sort of in my markets. If you have any further questions about real property reports, how they work within a real estate transaction, feel free to leave a comment below or to send me a message. I'd love to answer that. Thanks for watching, and I hope this was informative for you. Have a great day.